Hello, everybody. Welcome to my 5th episode of Thinking Out Loud podcast with Samantha Leah. My name is Samantha Leah, and I am a singer, a songwriter, a recording artist, but I am also always studying and always learning about different realms of spirituality, self-help, different ways to raise my vibration, and different ways to help the world through raising my vibration. And I would like to say happy October. Yes, it's October, and I feel the change. I currently live on the East Coast in the USA, and we are in the changing of the seasons, and I feel the change that comes with that. October, I feel, is already a powerful month, and it's only the second day. Then the full moon happened, and I feel recharged. I know the full moon affects people in different ways, but I feel really good today. Somebody asked me, because in one of the earlier episodes, I said I was starting a new thing where I was waking up at 3 in the morning, and somebody was like, "Do you still do that?" The answer is I do sometimes. I wake up really early, like 2 to 3 times sometimes a week, usually 2 times a week. I like to record these in the morning, early in the morning, when I feel there's a peaceful energy about. Yeah, it feels different. It feels very different when there's less chaos, less people awake. So I like to set aside 2 days at least to wake up early and really tap into that spiritual realm. Yeah, I'm just trying to be more balanced because I have a tendency to be like, yeah, this is what we're doing. My family makes fun of me for it and calls me a fundamentalist because if I stumble upon something that I love, I'm like, oh, I gotta do this. Like, I love disciplined action if I'm in alignment with it. Hence why I constantly talk about A Course in Miracles, the book A Course in Miracles, which has 365 lessons, one a day, to basically revamp your mindset. And I'm on day 97 today. I haven't done the lesson yet, but yeah, I love discipline. So actually, that is a perfect way to get into the rest of this. Look at that. By the way, a side note, I'm really getting used to talking, I guess, to myself, really to all of you, but it was a little bit weird for me at first to do a podcast. We all have our fears that come up when we decide to step into something new, and my fear was, who am I to start a podcast? Which is ridiculous because we're all creative beings that deserve to be limitless and are limitless, but just have to recognize that. So, I mean, creating a podcast is just nothing in comparison to the full potential. Here I am talking myself out of that feeling because it's true. Just step into your fears, honestly. That's really what is necessary at this point. Everything stirs up fear, so you really you got to step through it and recognize that you are so much more powerful than the fear of whatever it is. So anyways, my discipline conversation was going towards me talking about what was I going to talk about? Focus. That's funny. See, I forgot what I was talking about. Focus. So I already decided that I'm going to name this episode Focus is Your Friend. And kind of similarly to the last episode where I woke up with the phrase in my head that I named the episode. I didn't wake up with this phrase in my head, but it just came to me and I was like, wow, it's focus is your friend. Simple and so true. But the answer is why. So when it comes down to it, focus is really all we have. So our point of attraction, our vibration, which I have said before, is all we have. But how do you create the vibration that you want to live in? How do you manage your vibration? How do you change your vibration? How do you, if you are already in a good place, how do you keep your vibration high? And it's all done through focus. And this is why I love different practices that help us discipline our mind, because it helps you focus. Meditation helps you focus. Yoga helps you focus. Taking a conscious walk while you're breathing helps you focus. And it really helps you snap out of the go, 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 go world, this cyclic world where it's just constantly moving, and we're sucked in. I hate to say the Matrix, but I always call it the Matrix because I know that like has its own thing. Like you think of the movie, but you know, sucked into this world and then we come out of it, and it's just, where were we? Where were we during those hours that we were sucked into it? We had no control over our point of attraction, our vibration, because we weren't aware of where it was. And the goal is to really be self-aware all the time without the discipline involved. Meaning, I mean, it's always discipline because there will always be, you know, things that try to suck you back in. But it without having to, for instance, have my alarm go off every 10 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, whatever I decide to do that day, reminding me to be aware and be conscious. So the goal is to always be self-aware and always be in control of our vibration. And because we weren't ever taught this when we were young, how important our vibration is, it is going to be a little bit of a challenge at first, and you are going to have to be disciplined about it, and you're going to have to care about the way you feel. That is the essence of the whole thing. You're going to have to care about the way you feel, and you're going to have to put that before anything else that tries to suck you in. I just created an intention yesterday about how I'm going to, every time I feel myself get pulled back in through the past, pulled into a past event, I'm going to use that as a trigger to automatically envision something beautiful in my future. Now, I can say that, but am I going to do it each time that I remember to? And that's where free will comes in, and that's where it's up to me. Am I in charge of my mind, or is my mind in charge of me? A lot of us feel like our mind is in charge of us, and that is because for a lot of us it is. I'm getting to the point where I do feel like I am, you know, resolving some issues with my mind, kind of marrying my mind with my spirit, and I'm telling it, hey, like, you work for me. Okay, ego mind, we need you here. We need you to experience this physical realm, but you work for my spirit. You work for spirit. And so my spirit and spirit in general, God, whatever you want to say it is, works through you, ego mind. So that's where discipline is really helpful. And discipline helps focus us into the now moment. And I just want to read this quote really quick. I just have so much that I wrote down. I just was up all night. I just wanted to learn last night. Like I'm always like that, really, kind of, but more so yesterday. Like I just couldn't go to sleep. I was like hopped up off the energy of learning new things and like those feelings of when it just pops in your mind. So I wrote a lot of things down is what I'm trying to say. So Abraham-Hicks. I have been listening to the Abraham-Hicks teachings for literally more than 10 years. I know a lot of you guys probably know about her teachings. If not, check it out. It's all about the law of attraction, all about very general stuff, feel good, really helpful stuff, really, really. And there's so much content out there because she's been doing it for so long. So I was just honing in on one of the teachings yesterday, and I wrote this down. We want you to come to believe that you can choose the way you feel regardless of what is surrounding you, because when you show yourself that, then you have control of everything that matters to you. You have control of your point of attraction. You don't have control of others' points of attraction, but they weren't any of your business anyway. You have control over your point of attraction. And when you have control over that, then you can live happily ever after in each and every moment. I paraphrased it, but it was basically that. And this is really hard to get people to understand. And even, it was hard for me to understand because there's a part inside of you that wants to argue with that and be like, well, what if my friend comes to me and is sad? I can't just be happy. Or what about the things that are going on in the world? So let's get into that. If somebody comes to you and they are upset about something, it's very childish, first of all, to use that as an excuse to say, I'm not going to be happy in front of my sad friend. It's not about being happy and rubbing it in somebody's face. That is literally a trick of the ego. It's about holding space for them and remaining grounded in your inner peace and holding that place of love for them. That doesn't mean that you're not empathetic to their position, but it does mean that it is unhelpful for you and unhelpful for them to jump into that hole with them, that rabbit hole of sadness and self-destruction and misery. So the best thing that we can do for somebody that comes to us is, yes, be empathetic to their side of the story and be there for them. But being there for them doesn't mean that you jump into that self-destructive hole with them, because in doing that, you are no longer in your alignment, and now you're joining them while they are not in their alignment. And this is a really touchy subject because you can argue with that over and over and over again. But I know from experience that meeting somebody at their level of sadness or anger, etc., has never helped. Maybe it was a temporary help for them, but the temporary Band-Aid does not help. We see that all the time. Temporary, medicines that help the symptoms but don't cure the root cause. It's the same exact thing. So that doesn't mean you go in their face and say, oh, well, I'm happy. Like, be mature. Come on, be mature about it. That's not being there for somebody and holding that space of love. You need to hold that space of love for them. So yeah, your point of attraction, your vibration is going to constantly be creating your world in every now moment, this moment, this moment, and this moment, and this moment. And you have a choice. You have a choice. Sometimes it might not seem like you have a choice. Sometimes you get sucked in, and that's okay. It is okay. We are humans. We are learning. We were not brought up in a world that catered to our vibration at all. Quite the opposite, actually. So, you are going to run into days where you do go off on somebody, or you do meet somebody at their level and then you feel bad afterwards. And that is part of the process. We're learning here. We're all learning here. Another thing is people will say, but look what's going on the television. Now, I'm not going to get too far into this because this can go into a very long conversation, but we need to start to understand who owns the media companies and what type of news is constantly being fed to us. We really need to get smarter about this. And I will say right now, I don't watch the news. Absolutely, I do not watch the news. I really never have. I've probably watched the news 10 times or less in my life. I never liked TV. I never did. Ask any of my friends. But especially the news. The other day, I walked into a nail salon and I didn't have my headphones with me. I've talked about this on the podcast before. Typically, I've talked about it at a different time. But typically, I put one headphone in and one out. I don't want to be disrespectful to the communication between me and the person doing my nails, even though we don't really talk too much, but still, I just feel I'm not going to just completely zone myself out. I want to be there. But, the place I go to, a lot of the times the news is playing extremely loud. And wow, I forgot my headphones the other day, and it was quite the experience for me, for somebody that is not acclimated to watching the news, and especially during the time we're in now, to see what is put up on that screen. And I'm not going to go into it right now, but just tap into yourself and question, why would I watch something that is feeding into my fear and my suffering and my sadness and my anger and frustrations, etc.? Just be very keenly aware of how you feel when you watch the news and recognize that it is one-sided. So, of course, we all feel empathy for what goes on in the world. Of course we do. But sending out fear vibrations from a very low frequency, guess what? Is not helping the cause at all. The best thing that we can do is raise our vibration, send love, because energy is everywhere. There is no limit to energy, so you can send a loving energy, a loving frequency from here to a different country. And just be very keenly aware that, like I said in other episodes, what we feel and vibrate and think affects the whole collective. So why would the media systems only, or I'll say maybe 95% of the news reported on the media systems are negative, and fear creating? So just start to question things, and I'm going to leave that at that. I also wanted to talk about, since we're talking about focus, as you could see, I'm very, I get really excited about information. So although like I'm a pretty focused person, I'm like, I'm very spontaneous too. It's that whole, yin and yang energy to it. So I get like caught into it. Like right now, I when I was talking, I was like very passionate about it, and then I was like, oh wait, we're talking about focus. So this is going to switch gears a little bit, although it still has to do with focus, as really everything does. I just want to get into a very detailed conversation about, wanting things. And like, we all want things. We all want to feel happy. We all want to feel better. Once we get something, we want more. And that is not a bad thing if you're not controlled by your ego. It's just the essence, the nature of humans. We are creative beings. So we want to create. And we want to bring in these manifestations. And that's a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing. Don't let yourself feel any differently, because I know I've been there where I felt, well, I don't need that. You go back and forth. First you're in your ego mind. You're like, I want everything. And then you find spirituality and you're like, wait, but should I want anything? Yes, it is perfectly amazing to want things. You will never stop wanting things. You just, like I said before, have to, recognize that your spirit is running through you, and you are the boss of your ego. Make sure that you are the boss of your ego. So I talked to my friend about this recently, about, the law of attraction. And a really helpful thing that I've always kept with me, and I really didn't understand the premise at first, but I do now. Be general about what you want and why you want it until you are aligned with it enough that you can get specific with it. Again, this goes with the Abraham-Hicks teachings. So a lot of this podcast today is actually comes from the teachings of Abraham-Hicks. So what I mean by general is, why do you want something? Well, I could say I want to find the perfect apartment. Now, if I think of it specifically, I'm going to start getting knots in my stomach. Well, how am I going to get it? How am I going to afford what I want? Who am I going to live with? What website, look, I'm going into my mind right now. What website am I going to find the listing on? What street is it going to be on? What city? How is that even going to happen? Okay, so I can already feel myself, because I actually am looking for an apartment. I can actually feel myself not being in alignment when I question those things, because it's too specific right now. It's too specific for me to think that way, because it brings up fear in me. Like, oh God, am I ever going to find the perfect people to live with? Oh God, what if I missed out on that other listing I saw? So it gets me off track and away from my alignment. So what is helpful to that is to put myself back into a place of alignment. And how do we do that? We get more general. So here I am in the rabbit hole of specifics. We get more general. Why do I want this beautiful apartment? Why? Well, I want to feel freedom. I want to feel a beautiful place where I can be creative and feel comfort at home. I want this beautiful place because it will make me happy, and I know that being happy means that I get to experience life with others who are happy, and I get to bring in new situations and people and experiences that align with me, and I want that. And I want you see what I mean? So you go back to the reason why you want it, why you want what you want. And you stay there for a little while to make sure that you are in alignment with that desire. And this is really, really helpful when you really want something. I want a romantic partner. Well, where does he live? Well, what if I've met him already and we didn't meet? We didn't connect and I missed out on it. Am I going to meet him at that party? See, there's this like feeling of anxiety tagged along with getting really specific to how is it going to happen, where, when, etc. Now you have to make yourself feel better about that topic. Just zone out of it a little bit. And why do I want a beautiful partner? Well, I want to share what I create with what they create, and I want to have beautiful conversations, and I want to grow together, and I want to experience a partnership that is exciting and fun. I want someone to adventure with and travel with and etc., etc. Like, I just felt the difference. It's such a specific difference. It's such a detailed difference from me getting like, very, 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 very tapped into, well, when? But I want it now, but where? How is it going to happen? I don't get it. How do people meet? Now, once you get to that general place, then you will start to get ideas, thoughts, feelings. Maybe I get to that general place and for whatever reason, one day I just feel like downloading a specific dating app. Don't know why, but it just comes across my mind and I'm like, sure. And maybe that's how we meet. That's an example. And by the way, guidance, because I always felt like, well, I don't hear my guides in my mind. Guidance is just like your guides, your spirit guides, your teachers. That's what I'm talking about in the spiritual realm. Guides are always guiding us. So if you're walking down the street and you turn right and then you turn right again when you usually turn left, was your guidance. And you may have not realized it, but choosing I want mint chocolate chip today instead of chocolate ice cream. These are different ways that we're guided, but we don't even give ourselves the credit to say, oh yes, I'm tapped in and guided by my guidance, my spiritual guides. Spiritual, like, because, you'll see people who are psychics and you'll see people who are very, very tapped in and channeling even. And you'll think, well, I think, I'm probably projecting right now, but I'll think, wow, like, that's amazing. What do you have that I don't? It's not about what others have that we don't. We're just doing it in different ways. I forget that when I write music, of course I'm being helped by my guides, my teachers. They're writing it with me. So give yourself more credit on that topic too, because even if you're not sitting here channeling like Abraham-Hicks, if you know what I'm talking about, she is in full channeling. Maybe that's not the way we show it, but we're always being guided. Always, always, always. So just back to the topic of focus really quick, because yeah, this one's a little bit longer. I am gonna cut it soon. Although somebody was like, wait, why aren't they longer? Why aren't these episodes longer? I'm just getting used to even doing this, but also I'm trying to figure out, I need to get my camera fixed, because right now I record the video for YouTube, because if you're listening to this through Spotify or Apple, whatever, I also put the video on YouTube, and my phone always runs out of storage. So I know there's ways to fix that, but still, I'm trying to get my camera fixed. So sometimes I'm like, I don't know if I could go super long today. But yeah, I just wanted to end with talking about focus again, and how our vibration and our point of attraction, it really is all that we have control over. We don't have control over anybody else's vibration. We can wish the best for them, and we can love each and every person from our unconditional love vibration, but we can't step into them and be them, and that's not what it's meant to be. And that is because each person has come here on their own specific journey, and they have a different blueprint than us. We are not aware of their blueprint, and they are not aware of ours, and we're just, we're meeting with these other souls, and we're recognizing them from past lives potentially, and we're loving them. And unconditional love is a practice in focus, because if something triggers me about someone or some event, I need to recognize right then and there, or as quickly as possible, that this is triggering me, so that I look at something in myself, and here the focus is back on me. It's back on, well, what is this feeling? Well, why did this come into my awareness? So the focus has to be there. The presence, the awareness has to be there in order for you to get to the point where you're bothered by something and your automatic response is, well, why am I bothered by this? What in me is this mirror reflecting back to me to show me? And that takes practice, because we have a tendency to get sucked into the world. And like I said in the beginning of this, discipline it's important. And yes, I have alarms on my phone frequently that remind me to snap out and snap back into myself, back into my spirit, and back into presence. And for me, that works. And I do recognize that I know it's only a piece of the path. It's not forever. So the ultimate goal is to be aware, self-aware, and present and focused all of the time, so that I don't need those reminders. But for now, I do need those reminders. And that's why yoga and breathing techniques and meditation and these reminder alarms and all of these things, all of these practices, that is why they are so helpful, is because It helps to retrain our mind to snap out of the ego's world and back into us, back into our body, back into alignment with our spirit, back into presence. And focus is the way to stay in alignment with our vibration and to raise our vibration. You cannot raise your vibration without focus, because you need to know where you're at vibrationally if you want to raise your vibration. And you can't do that. You can't know where you are at vibrationally if you are not focused, if you're not looking at the proof of where you're at. If you're meeting with beautiful people and having a wonderful day, it's just you feel wonderful, then you know you are in vibrational alignment. If you are not doing that, then you are not. So I really, really enjoyed this podcast, and I hope you guys do too. And happy October to all of you. And I feel wonderful things coming for this month. Very powerful month. Just stay in your lane, stay grounded, and do what you need to do to keep your vibration where you want it to be. Peace and love.